Hey, college student here. Today we're going to be talking about data collection in video games. So yeah, you might be thinking, what are they collecting? Why are they collecting? And how do I protect myself if I don't want them collecting? This isn't meant to fully encapsulate the entirety of companies collecting data on us, on customers, but it is meant to put a small window into one facet of data collection about customers, but specifically in video games, at least, because I play video games and I think it's interesting. So, the first question you might ask, what about me do these companies want to collect? Like, what kind of information are they interested in? The easiest answer I can give you is all your demographic information. And you give it to them by creating accounts, you sign up through whatever. You create what's called an identity. And this identity, it holds all of your little data points in one package to include credit card information as well. In the bigger scope of things, this is called big data. And big data, the concept is used to draw trends from many data points. And it usually just show patterns of spending or what's popular, what's not working. And companies usually use this for its intended purpose, or at least non-nefarious means. But we'll see that like some companies use it for predatory practices, such as advertising to minors. It's no surprise that companies collect on us because, at least not in the modern era, everyone's got a pretty good sense of it. And it's not a secret. They're not hiding it. In a review from one of the vice presidents of Ubisoft, they pretty much go out and say it. Say, yeah, we collect user data primarily for the, internal marketing and demographic studies. Easy enough. All this information about what they want to collect, for the most part, is found in the terms and conditions. And I know everyone reads them, right? Some companies, like Blizzard or Epic through the Epic launcher, Origin or Battlestate Games with Tarkov, I know that's pretty popular. They make you launch their game through what is called a launcher. Launchers are essentially these platforms, these programs that hold all of your user information. It creates a tunnel between them and their registries or databases to make the whole transaction a lot smoother. But the problem with that is you're allowing a company to put a program onto your computer, and for the most part, you don't really know what it does. An example of this is Epic Games. Essentially, you have their launcher up, and it is collecting information about your contacts, right? And who your contacts are contact with or something like that. What it's doing is reaching out to your third-party app called Steam. Steam's probably the biggest launcher, and it's collecting information from that third-party application, which is a big no-no. You didn't sign anything in your permission slip to say, yeah, you can rifle through my computer and pull up information about people who have not consented to be collected on. That's why it's bad. Well, to their credit, the CEO came out and was like, hey, it's our bad, guys. We didn't mean to do this. And it was corrected within 24 hours. Or 24 hours of being spotted. So, I guess that's cool. They also kind of messed up with the whole Fortnite debacle. So yeah, they're not only collecting identity information, they're also collecting information on your system, how much power, depends on the game, depends on the company, but for the most part, just system specs. Which, it's weird. I don't like, intrusive programs on my computer looking at all my programs. Now that I have anything to hide, it's probably just a principle, I guess. A recent example in intrusive companies is our favorite cyberstalker, Meta, formerly known as Facebook. So they're launching VR, which, great. They're doing it. That's great. We need, it's a cool market. It's new. It's fresh. It's hip. It's happening. But because it's Meta, because it's Facebook, whatever. And although they are providing a cheap and reliable system that it's widely accessible, but again, because it's Meta, they're accessing your purchase history, your spending habits, your social scheme, I forget what it's called, social friends list and stuff like that, your contact information, as well as your voice communications. And I don't like that personally. I don't like, that's really creepy. Stay out of my head. Although this was an extreme example of, invasion of privacy, I think that for the most part companies just want money. they they don't really care what you're saying for the most part, unless it affects them in some way. But yeah, it's for the bottom line. Speaking of bottom lines, the video game industry is hugely popular and it makes tons of money. An example of this, and to really put it in perspective, I think, we compare it to the movie industry. So how much is that? Well, if you put it in perspective, the video game industry makes around $178 billion in 2021. And if we compare that with the movie industry in 2022, which is $78 billion, it's almost double. Like, that's insane. So yeah, I mean, it really does provide a lot of motive why these video game companies, these studios, just really want your information so they can just milk, the most out of their users. Selling what's popular. That's what they want to do, which is inherently bad. In a perfect world, this wouldn't be a problem, right? We can trust companies, we can trust anybody with their information, or at least they could protect it perfectly. That means no leaks, no hacks, no nothing. No one really wants to get into information. But unfortunately, we don't live in that world, and video game companies aren't perfect. I'm going to give you an example of why video game companies are not perfect and they can't, protect your data at all times. The famous 2014 Sony hack, which caused something along the lines of a couple million users' information being leaked online, as well as Sony's employees' data. Malicious state actors trying to get back at a company by leaking user information. And then you have like the Fortnite hack, which, as funny a name that sounds, it's not so funny because all these kids using their parents' credit cards, all that information leaked online. And you can buy it right now. Long story short, I think we should take more care into limiting what information we're putting out there, or at least hold people more accountable for it, or put it into practice where it's like companies don't have so much information on us because they obviously can't safeguard it perfectly. And there are people out there who want to steal your identity. They want to do bad things with your information. Now that I've shared my paranoia with you, and I hope this doesn't scare anybody, and I hope this doesn't come off as me being completely against the using data to create a better experience in video games or anything like that. Because I'm not. I'm okay with a little bit of give and take, and I understand the risk. So, whatever. But if you're not, if you're paranoid, or if you just are uncomfortable with people having your information, here's a couple ways that you can mitigate that. Okay. Number one, limit the information you put out there through pseudonyms, through, not giving your location. It really just limited that account data, right? Two would probably be pre-charged cards, where if someone steals that information, you're going to lose $100 or something like that. That's not too bad. And plus, hey, it's a good way to limit your spending. If you want to hide your location data, VPNs, great way to do that. VPNs hide your IP address. I can name 3 off the top of my head. Nord, Shark, and Express. I don't have a list here. That's just off my head. Oh, yeah. Virtual machines. If you want to hide your system data, a good way to do that is to create a virtual machine. You can change your specs on it. You can change a lot of things. Although that's probably unnecessary, it's another step if you're really just trying to get that max level of protection. So yeah, those are my thoughts on data collection in video games. I hope you enjoyed this video. Presentation over.